Hi everyone, it's Miss Thomas, and today we are looking at polynomial functions. And so some of this might be a review, but we want to make sure that we're clear about all these terms and ideas. So a polynomial is a monomial or a sum of monomials. So that's not very clear. The 2x is a monomial, and unfortunately, the formatting on this got a little wonky. This should be 2x to the fourth minus 3x. That's a sum of monomials. So monomials are going to be a variable, a coefficient, they can be an exponent, but they're separated by addition and subtraction. So features to recognize about polynomials. The first is the degree of the polynomial. And the degree of the polynomial is the highest exponent on a variable. The highest exponent will determine the degree. The number of terms is also something we pay attention to with polynomials, and the terms are separated, like I said, by addition and subtraction. And then we use this information to help us write polynomials in standard form. So we write the polynomial so that, I'm not sure why that got cut off too, we write the polynomial so that terms are ordered from highest degree to lowest. So for example, if I had the polynomial, move these things out of the way, if I had the polynomial, let's say 2 minus 3x to the 10th plus 4x squared minus 11x. What I want to look at are the powers on my variables. Sorry, that got messed up there. Okay, so we still have the 10. Okay, so clearly that has a degree of 10. This one, we'll just underline, has a degree of 2. And this x, whenever the variable or the exponent is not written, the exponent is a 1. So we want to go ahead and reorder this. So just to be clear, the term includes the coefficient, the variable, and the exponent, but when it's written like this, you need to make sure you bring the sign of that as well, because this is the same as having plus a negative. So we want to move the full negative 3x to the 10th to the front, because it has the largest variable, the largest exponent. And then we're going to move the 4x squared with its plus sign. And then we are going to go ahead and move the 11x with its minus sign. And the constants always go last. So we're going to move our constant. It's positive, so we'll make it a plus 2. So this is the variable in standard form. Its degree, it's a 10 degree. And the number of terms is 4, because it has 4 items separated by addition and subtraction. So there's 2 ways to classify a polynomial. You usually classify it by both. We want to make sure we know. The first is classifying by the degree. So you guys started off your math education learning about constants. Constants are just numbers, no variable. So the degree of a constant is 0. Then as you started to move into algebra, you looked at linear functions, and you know it's linear because there's no exponent, which means the exponent is actually 1. Then you moved into quadratics, which have a degree of 2, and that exponent should be higher. So write your example like 4x squared plus 2. And then we're going to rewrite all of these. 4x squared plus 2, the highest exponent is a 2, so it's quadratic. For cubic, the highest exponent is a 3. 4x to the third minus x squared plus 2. Quartic, 4x to the fourth. The 4 is the highest power. So it doesn't really matter what else is in here when you're considering how to name it by its degree. It's really just all about what's the highest exponent. Quintic. And then an nth degree polynomial is really when we don't know what the highest exponent is. So this is 4x to the n, x to the n minus 1, and then we sort of write it like that because we don't know how many terms there are or how long that extends. So this is just sort of a filler when we don't know how big the polynomial really is. So I can also classify a polynomial by the number of terms. And some of these will be familiar to you. So a monomial would be something like 4x to the fifth. It's just one term. Nothing's being added or subtracted. A binomial has 2 terms, so 4x squared plus 2. So that's one term and another term. A trinomial is going to be 3 terms. So 1, 2, 3. And then anything beyond that, we really just say how many terms they've got. So x to the fifth minus 4x squared plus x minus, it doesn't really matter, minus 4. That's just 4 terms. And then n terms, just like nth degree, we don't know how many terms there are. To the 2n minus 2. So we don't know what the exponents are, we don't know what the terms are. But we know there are n terms. So we want to write this in standard form. I'm going to write it with the proper notation. Sorry, the formatting got kind of wonky. Disregard that. We want to write it in standard form and classify it by the degree and number of terms. So standard form, again, puts it in order from highest power to smallest power. So my highest exponent is a 3. So I want to take the term it's attached to and its value, or its positive or negative sign. So negative 4x to the third. The next highest exponent is the squared, so because there's no term in front of, no positive or negative in front of it, it's going to be a plus x squared. And then the last term is the plus 3x. So since my highest exponent is a 3, then this is going to be a cubic. And then it's got 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. This one's a little bit wonky. We're missing a plus sign in there. To write in standard form, you need to simplify first. So we have x times the quantity x plus 5 times the quantity x plus 5. So we need to simplify this before we can do anything else with it. So again, you need to distribute. So the x times x is going to give me an x squared. The x times the plus 5 is going to give me a plus 5x. Done distributing that term. Now I need to distribute that. So plus another 5x and plus 25. So I need to combine like terms. So your polynomial needs to be totally simplified before you can classify it by degree and terms. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. So I have no more like terms, no more multiplication, so I can go ahead and classify it by degree and number of terms. The highest degree is a 2, so by degree, it's it's a quadratic, which you guys know well. And by number of terms, there's 1, 2, 3 terms, so this is also a trinomial. Okay. So then this last one is a U-tri. I'll write it a little more legibly. X times 2x squared minus 3 plus x plus 5. So go ahead, simplify this, write it in standard form, and classify it by degree and number of terms, and I'll see you tomorrow.